So the fact that, you know, when you see people, you just assume that because of their level of experience or because of the positions that they hold at their different fields, that their life is all put together. Because, you know how you can see someone and be like, oh, I want this person to be my mentor. I follow this person. I admire this person.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you don't even know what this person is going through. So I think it's very important to give people breaks and always show empathy regardless of your position, whether you're a junior or senior staff. If we're actually making reference to the professional space, and even as a human being, like,
Absolutely.
I mean, there's some things, everybody's going through shit. Like, let me just say, me, I'm in Nigeria, and people that live in Nigeria, like, currently the country has its own, you know, ups and downs. So people are struggling from inflation to, like, a lot of things are going on. And I honestly feel like we need to be kinder to each other regardless of the field. So in the house I have Oghosa.
Hi, Mercy.
Welcome to True Talk with Mercy.
Thank you for having me.
Also, what do you really think? Like, I want to believe that I'm not the only person that feels like this, because really, like, you know how mental health is another thing that has become, you know, and mental health, when people talk about anxiety, stress, depression, it doesn't mean that, you know, you must have killed somebody first and you're feeling guilty. You don't need to be in jail. You don't need to have a family member that, you know, really be going through something deep or like guilt. People mistake when people say, oh, I have mental health issues. Some people think that it's guilt.
No, mental health could be something as easy as just waking up on the wrong side of the bed sometimes.
Exactly. And then people think it's always mental, like, because the word
depression or going through.
It could be physical. It could just be,
it could
like,
be your PMS as well. If we're being honest, that's probably that's something that probably needs to be highlighted. Thank you so much, Mercy, for having this conversation. I think it's a conversation that's not spoken about often, and so I've been, I don't want to say a professional, but I have kind of been working for the last, I don't know, over 5 years. It's quite little, but just in that space, I've come to understand that it's important to give people grace.
Yeah. So do you have any personal experiences you want to share?
Yeah, like I think, definitely. I think from the personal side, I have been in situations where I've had a really terrible day, right? And somebody pops you a message on LinkedIn like, oh, you know, I don't know, hi ma, you know, I'm looking for a job, here's my CV and all that, right? But you don't have the grace at that moment to respond to that person, and then the next thing you're hearing is like, this person ignores messages, right? So I've had, you know, instances like that quite recently, and a few others. And I think, like, what I've learned from, you know, applying for jobs to seeking people's guidance to seeking mentorship is just understanding that everyone's going through shit.
Like, but okay, so on
going
the side of empathy, right? Because I mean, I want to agree and disagree with you. So if you say, like, people act a certain type of way because they might be going through things that other people are not aware of, right? How do you think it should be relayed? Because I mean, I don't want to say transfer of aggression. It's just like, I'm angry now and someone just comes in and speaks to me a certain way and I just blow up on them, right? So let me go back to your, like, what you're using as a case study. So it's like, I'm in the office, I have a boss. Like, yes, the boss might be going through something. The boss needs to understand that I'm also going through something. Because, like, I hear a lot of insensitive comments. Like, I've always been in professional space, like, have 9 to 5s. Like, even when I didn't have 9 to 5s, like, I also had to work with, you know, different people. So it's like, there's a lot of insensitivity that comes with, like, for example, in the office, they can tell you, oh, the moment you step into that door, anything else, family, leave it outside, leave it at home. But it's not possible because, like, how do you think I can function and be productive?
So here's a very interesting thing. Actually, in the older decades, probably with the baby bloomers, a lot of the time.
I bet which one is baby bloomers now?
That would mostly be the 1960 kids. So most of our parents, if you have parents,
that's what their own was 60s. Called. I only know Gen Z.
Yes, I know. So because the ones that are giving us headache, the ones giving us headache. So I think at that time, a lot of them actually, you know, they had the same emotional and, you know, mental or health issues to go with, but they didn't experience as much pressure as we are in this generation, considering to, like, house rents, inflation. I mean, there were all these things, but they didn't have as much responsibilities, I would say, and they weren't as exposed to a lot of things.
I was about to say exposure.
Yeah. So when you see things like everything is pressure. Yeah, no, I agree. So when you see things like leave your issues at home, when you get to work, focus on my job, it was so much easier for, I don't know, maybe my parents to do that because like they were at a point where they could afford to focus on that work because that was the work that was going to pay them. That was in their heads. They're like, this is the time that I'm going to give to working hours, right? Yeah. But then unlike us, where there's WhatsApp, there's Instagram, there's someone messaging you on Twitter, there's your email, there's all these things going on that you carry the same device into the phone setting. You dare not tell me to leave home at home. My granny is calling me and trying to tell me that her water pump has gotten bad and she can't reach herself. You know, there are all these things that we then have to be consciously alert onto. So even if I'm saying I want to leave home at home, I'm still messaging my dad like, hey dad, have you had breakfast at like 11 o'clock? Because that you have that communication, you have devices. So I think like things are a bit different now, and a lot of people still try to bring that mindset of you're at work, so focus on your work hours. I really
That's
can't,
the problem.
because there's also TikTok and something just tricked my emotions.
And then productivity is relative for a lot of people. I can get into work, drop my phone or whatever, like not even be on any device or any social thing, because obviously you have a computer to work with, right? And I can decide to not do anything, not because I don't want to. But sometimes creativity just comes from even the littlest things. But some bosses just like, the moment they just see you sitting down, even if it's break time, they just assume that this one has not done anything today.
It reminds me of this TikTok that I've been seeing where it's like showing my boss that I'm working,
how busy I can be,
and you're rushing through papers and rushing through your office. And I think it's just an indication of how much has changed over the decades, sort of.
Honestly. And okay, there's something that has really been living rent free, you know, on my mind for a while.
In this economy, rent free.
Oh wait, it's not even just it's not even just the whole work thing now. Yeah. And this Gen Z, like, I just found out that I think I'm actually a Gen Z or a hybrid. Somebody said I'm a hybrid.
Hybrid.
So it's like millennial and Gen Z. And Gen Z, right. But the thing is, like, I've always wondered, like, how come all of a sudden, like, of recent times, there's been a lot of even memes, like, you can see a whole slide strictly just Gen Z memes. So I'm like, let me even put myself in this position. Like, why do people think that Gen Zs are? I don't know who I was talking to recently that I was trying to even defend the Gen Zs. Maybe because in my mind, I'm also part of them somehow. But I want to understand why, like, do have people tried?
They know better.
Exactly.
I think they know better. And I think, like, there was also this... Okay, I'm not always on TikTok, but when TikTok gets on Instagram, I watch it when it cross breeds across to the next. There was this video of this lady who was saying she had an interview with Gen Zs, and
I think I know
the video I'm talking about, right? And I could so relate because I spent such a long time actually trying to onboard a Gen Z, and I think their definition of empathy or I'll do things at my own time is so much different from the one I grew up with, right? So if someone sends me an email and I don't respond initially because I'm going through something, I'm always like, sorry for the late response. And I've had Gen Z co-workers who know they're late, but they'll just be like, I'm just getting to you now because, you know, I had to deal with something at home. Not an apology, not a little kind of just telling you.
So it's the approach. The approach is also part of.
Yes, it's the fact that, like, from my side, I think we start getting apologetic towards things that happen in our lives. Do you know, like, you're kind of being like, God forbid someone's mom dies. Oh, sorry, my mom died, so I'm responding to you now. Well, no, my mom died, I'm responding to you now.
So you think there should still be certain, like, professional ethics that regardless of what... so maybe that's where the balance needs to come in. But I feel like this is just one example, right? There are certain people that, let me say superiors now, that just assume that, okay, because someone works for you, like, you don't think that they'll be subject to just anything. So this whole Gen Z issue, I also think that, like you said, they know better. Yes. So knowing better is also relative. And then some of them know, like, you cannot treat me like trash. I know how to read my contract very well. There are certain things. It's not my job description. Absolutely. Why are you trying to, micromanaging and a lot of rubbish that we just see in the workplace? So I honestly think that it's on both ends. It's not necessary. This is, like, strictly about Gen Zs now. Like, please, I'm a proud Gen Z supporter. And yes, I know that there are downsides. I'm not saying like 100%, but I still feel like, I mean, like I said earlier, empathy is important, right? But don't treat people in Nigerian, let me not even say some kind of things.
Nigerian bosses, like, a lot of them are on another level. All of them, though. Shout out to all of them.
They are funny. Like, I feel like
employed.
The thing that pisses me off the most is when they treat you like their job, like your life depends on it.
Job, yeah.
So there are certain traits, like you said, in our parents' time, a lot of them were more patient, a lot of them were more tolerating. Yeah. Because even till days, like there's some things that I will say to my mom and she'll be like, boy, you can't. I'm like, mommy, no, I'm not going to take that rubbish because of what? So they are used to being suppressed, they're used to being bullied, they're used to being, but in this time, like everybody's speaking up for themselves.
And which is interesting because compared to like my dad's time, there were so many jobs at their disposals, you know. Yeah. But now there are people who have to think extremely hard with the way they approach their line managers and bosses because
if they lose the job,
if this job goes, you know, like, you know, what's the gap for you to get like a new employment? So I think like that's why a lot of people are still, I don't know, still have a bit of empathy and.
Some people will tell you, I'm not happy at my job, but I'm stuck there because I need to pay something. I need salary at the end of the month.
If that ain't the truth.
I mean, it is, honestly, but it also depends. I think that's also, I had a session recently on work detox.
Right, yes.
And we spoke about, you know, having a 9-to-5 and having a side hustle. So what do you think makes people to actually start up their own businesses on the side? There's something I don't want to say on this, I swear. I'm so tempted, but let me just say, okay, now, someone's reason for being stuck at a toxic job, culture, environment, everything is because, at the end of the month, I'm being paid. At least that one would, you know, compensate me. What if at the end of the month you don't get paid?
That is a very interesting question, actually.
Because I mean, there are companies out there that are very comfortable with
salaries. Yes,
that's
absolutely.
what I didn't want to say.
And do you then go to your boss's door and be like, excuse me, sir, end of month, where is my salary?
And then you're like, oh yeah, like but you said.
So what do you see in instances where those bosses have really pressing issues that they've had to attend to with, need I say this? But with kind of like, okay, I know there's salary to be paid at the moment, but God forbid our company just got burnt down, or, you know, someone stole or something.
No, I feel like in that kind of instance,
shorts.
Communication, 1, 2.
Absolutely.
If you work somewhere, and then like maybe something is happening in the company that everybody is well aware of, it's human of you to know that, okay, right now, like we'll find a way around it, but you are aware.
Yes.
Not when at the end of the month someone is owing you and then they are being so arrogant,
rude and nonchalant about it. Okay,
there's no communication. So I'm not saying like,
so I think that's intelligent, emotional intelligence as well that plays into that.
I'm not saying like there will not be instances where things happen. Like there are people that will work in companies for years. Like if anything happened, they know that this is just temporary.
Yes,
but then when you want to make people feel like you're doing them a favor
by owing them salary, even
because they're working for you, you're owing them, and then your work culture is toxic. So it's like, how fun do you even make? People don't work because not everybody works because of money, by the way. Some people tell you, I'm doing it for the experience.
Yes.
If it's in money, maybe they have other side businesses. So it's like, okay, I can, you know, fend for myself, support my family or whatever. But I'm here because somebody like me, for example, I'm not saying like I don't work because of money. So somebody will not hear me. I'll be thinking, but someone like me, I think I'm more career driven. So with every 9-to-5 or like job that I get,
you know, you're trying to get somewhere else.
I'm actually like trying to upskill, because I want to get to the next phase of my life or the next company and know that maybe I'm going to a higher role, I'm, you know, gaining more experience, I'm adding things to my portfolio.
Sure.
Because most of the time, like, do they really pay people what they are worth?
Yes.
Nobody gets paid what they are worth. Like,
that's a whole different conversation.
So it's like people look at you still on this thing that we're talking about. People look at you and think that you have it all together. This one is a big girl where she works. See the position.
Right.
This Nigerian, but hey, God.
I know. I think
I'm seriously holding myself from saying certain things.
That's the audacity of a lot of people. I think so. I've been on LinkedIn. I'm just, you know, I don't know, we are connected on LinkedIn.
Sure.
Like, so I'm just like, for the last 5 years really, I've just been very like opinionated, speaking about my work and everything I've been doing, and I get people who just automatically see me and think, oh, the moon is literally your backyard. As in, if you just open your backyard, you just step into the moon, but not knowing that we're still having to go through everything. Adulting, realizing, finding your purpose, finding if you actually like the work you're doing,
if you want to switch your path.
Absolutely. And then there's so much pressure for you to open doors for everybody else because they think you've arrived. When ideally, and this is the issue I had with social media, even when you're not intentionally making yourself feel like, oh, you know, like you carry too much or anything. There's this instance of, assumptions that happen. And it then puts, I think for a minute, actually, I think I did get a bit of pressure from
social media,
you know, like social media. Yeah, because it's like I'll travel for a trip and somebody's like, oh, you know, like can you lend me? I'm like, no, because this was work. Like I didn't go for
so
I
the
didn't
fact
go for
that
a holiday.
traveling
Like
around the world doesn't mean
it's not like you're going on vacation. Like you're actually having
working.
to work and not sleep and come back home not unpack for days. Not like it's and
totally
that's the site that you're not going to be sharing on LinkedIn and sharing on Instagram.
Exactly,
and like
on social media, nobody sees.
No, I'm not going to show you how many suitcases I haven't unpacked. So
nobody sees the hard part. Really, people just. There are very few people, maybe people with experiences that will just be able to tell that if it's a work trip, I know what it's like going on a work trip like that. Some people, it's just what you're posting. They just assume that see the big hotel you're staying. That won't happen to me this year, Like I went for this work trip to Lagos. And then from everything I was posting, people were just looking at how you're dressed. You're doing presentation. You are a boss.
You arrived though.
See a room that you're staying.
Why you not open the door for us?
I bet Messi, when you come back to Abuja, we'll go to somewhere. We'll go buy a zoo. I say, God.
I think like, that's.
Are you seeing me being up till 4 a.m. and still having to work like I am in the office while still being here?
I know.
So people really don't look at, all the, like they say, hard work.
It's more hard work
that people like don't see. But I mean, when the work comes out and it's all good and everybody's just like fancying you, looking at you like, this one is, and that's not this used to scam us in this Nigeria is position like titles, big position, like royalty titles, small salary. Yes. And I've gotten to that point where it's like the only thing that this position can do for me is I feel like I'm upskilling. So obviously I'm going to another place and I know I'm not going to be hired lower,
right?
But they will use position and really brainwash you like, you're a senior associate, you're a this, right. But how much is my salary? Someone that is like probably an intern or an associate somewhere
elsewhere. Yeah.
Or
but the thing is, like, I think that's higher. Something that you definitely use to your leverage, though. I think, like, as someone who's caving my career into a managerial role, is no matter even when I was an intern, I sold internship. Like I made internship look like it was gold mine. I was talking about everything I was doing, talking about the work, because it's like you said earlier, it's not really about the money all the time. It's really about what people can see you do in that role and how you can not advertise. LinkedIn make me say advertise. Like
what you portray for other
what you can portray forward. Like, so it's harder. Nobody really gets paid what you're worth in the grand scheme of things. But I think when you look at the fact that people are building businesses, and it's hard in this country building a business. So that's why I said shout out to all the employers. Thank you for hiring us regardless, because it takes a lot to hire.
I know.
It takes a lot to hire.
And us to thank,
I mean, shout out to
the reasonable, empathetic.
Shout out to the rest of you.
Yes. Employers.
Yes, exactly.
That care about the welfare of their employees.
Absolutely.
Simple.
No, absolutely. It's and I think but just tying this now really briefly into speaking about giving people empathy, especially for senior people in senior roles. There was an instance that I heard, and it was this lady who's been struggling with IVF for a few years now. And when we finally connected and got closer, and she told me, I was like, I've been on your case for the last 2 years, and I thought you were ignoring me, but girl, you were just trying to get pregnant, you know? And it's like, but she has to go through her day-to-day work regardless, right? But
your pressure, your expectation, and everything.
She cancelled on me like 700 times. I flew to Lagos to see this babe. But those are things that 2019 me was upset about, because I just thought, like, why, like, God gave you this role, why are you not opening the door for me? But you see the other side of it, and it's like she was doing her 9 to 5. She was putting in those hours for her company, and at home, the me time she had, she didn't really want to spend it trying to mentor anybody or create space for any other person,
because she was dealing
with her own issues. And I think that's the grace a lot of people, young and experienced and older, need to like give, like that, because that's the foundation of empathy, giving people grace. And I always say this: if you cannot respond to somebody, ignore now, respond later. It's not. Nobody owes you time in their day.
Or you could just even maybe like, there's something that I do if it's work related, like if I get a text, so you send me an email and it's like, oh, I need you to respond to this. The first question is, how urgent is it? So if it's not very urgent, I could tell you like, please, can I get back to you in like an hour, 30 minutes, or please, I'll respond, just give me some time. But some people want to add to the pressure by saying things like, oh, I need it now. I don't care. It's work time. Like, right. And at that point, I'll actually ignore you. And I'm like, okay, now, come on. That's when I can be a Gen Z.
Come and take it from me.
That's when I can be a Gen Z, right? So really, it's very important, like, to just be. I always tell people, like, all the offices that I've really worked in, like, there's something I always tell my fellow colleagues, like, before anything else, like, be human first. Because, you come to work, like, you don't know what the other person is bearing. Yes, there can be pressure on you, but do you realize that in having very good working relationships, work is better?
Yes,
there's productive. There are people that come to work, they make friends at work, because that's where you are every day.
Yes.
So if you're going through something and you're confident enough to find someone there that you can, ease the burden with a little, like, you come, they will help you through this.
A little bit work bay.
Okay, I know why. I've been in that situation before. I think it was sometime 2018 or 19, but there was a time I was really, something was happening, and it was not a personal thing, it was a work thing.
Right.
And then all my colleagues knew, my top managers knew, and then I'll go into meetings and I'm distracted. Maybe I'm supposed to
because
take
minutes.
They knew what was going on. Like, it was work. It was like a work thing, but nobody, like, I don't know how to explain. It's a really long story, right? But it was something that was affecting me mentally. I think that was when I really had my first share of when you're mentally stressed, like work related, that it's causing you to get depressed.
Right.
So I had to open up, like, even HR didn't take me serious that time, because it was something that I tried to, like, speak to people.
Yeah.
And then they'll just be like, you suck it up, all these millennials. That was the comment that came from energy. My HR at the time. And then the other people that really understood, when we go for meetings together, I noticed that they will even pay more attention than me. So the things that I missed, they will come back and be like, oh, I took notes for you in case you need.
Right.
That's being empathetic.
Absolutely, yeah.
So imagine working with people like that, where everybody
now
understands.
It's not just even your seniors, like your linear
even seniors, like, too, okay. Like, even superiors, managers. But some people just want to have that, oh, I'm in the top position, so
I don't care about your issues.
That's like authoritative, like, whatever is going on, you deal with it. Or, it happens. Somebody will tell you, oh, this is what happens, like, it's office politics now. I'm like, some things are not okay. Why do people try to, like, sugarcoat them to make it look like it's normal? I would never want to accept something that I know doesn't feel right.
I think we should, and I think Gen Zs are really pushing for that, though.
Yeah, I think
Gen Zs are calling us out on
that's
everything.
why I'm like, I'm a proud Gen Z supporter. Like, I don't support every single behavior.
Obviously not every
There's some things
behavior.
that are like, no, you just know that this one is not because of the group that you belong to. It's just you as a person. But I feel like it's good that, people like the generation that we're in now, not even just the Gen Zs, even millennials too, a lot of them are also in that category. I think it's really important, and it's good that now people are beginning to really, show up for themselves. Like, you don't just let yourself be bullied because somebody employed you. And so there are people that, it doesn't matter. Like, it's very, very important. Like, I really love that these days people of this generation know what they want, because you get into a place and you know that, okay, this is not what you told me. You can't see this coming. This Nigerian employment is a lot. So still shout out to
at this point now we're praying that we don't become the ones we hate.
No.
Like, I think that's it. This is now the conversation. It's like, how do we then become better than what we've experienced or what we see happening now? But
I think personally, I think that's something that my businesses teach me, because, like, I have a full about my janitorial. So I think that's the one that I can use as an example, because that's the fully functional one. So obviously I have supervisors, I've had different people under, and I feel like every time I go through something at work in my 9 to 5, there are certain processes and procedures that don't sit well with me. And I'm like, God, please, like, now that I'm experiencing this, I don't want to be this boss. People. I don't want to be like, I want to be more understanding. I want to be that person that you come to me and tell me this is that. I'll be more like, I'll communicate better. I'll speak to you well, because I'm very stubborn in real life. Like, in every aspect I am, whether it's family, whether it's work, everybody knows me to be that opinionated. This one has a very strong mind of her own. So the thing is, you can be trying to correct me. Manner of approach is key. Just like I say, be human first. You can want to correct somebody, right? And then the manner in which you do it is important. That's why they say there's a difference between a leader and what's the second one? Is it a boss or a founder or something? Yeah, right. Okay. But a true leader knows, like, how to really
has that empathy and the cornerstone.
Yes, there's a way you will lead someone that is even trying to be more. You don't need to be all strict and showing authority everywhere. Fear and respect are two different things. Somebody can look at you and they are just quiet because they respect your position, not even you as a person. But some people mistake it for fear, and they just think that I'm the boss, I'm in control, anything I say will happen. So I think that it's really, really important the way we speak to people, both as a superior and, a subordinate. Because you want to correct me now. People are open to learning. That's why you have a job. That's why you're in the professional space, because you want to learn, grow in your career. So imagine you do something. I'll just come in front of the whole office, maybe even call a meeting, general meeting, and I just hear what you did, or I just belittle you.
People still do that?
First of all, your confidence is gone.
People
do you understand?
Still do that?
There are people that do that. They will rubbish your work. Like, there are very constructive ways that you can actually give feedback, right? So manner of approach is important. That's why I use the example of me being stubborn, because if you correct me, the manner in which you talk to me is what will make me whether I'm going to do it or not.
Yeah.
Because me, so I want to show you that you can't talk to me like that.
I think I've been kind of lucky in like my places of work, really. I don't think I'm going to the point where anyone's ripping up my sheets just yet.
Oh no, that was just an example.
I know. For me, people probably experience that.
Yeah, I've seen it happen to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then I also think the way you start, just like you know what you want before going into a space. Just every company, every organization, company, they all have their visions, like what they want to achieve, what the company. Why do you have staff? Because you're trying to look for people that will buy into the vision and help you achieve it, right? Basically. So it's like, as a human being, as a professional, you should also have your vision. Because why I will leave a job is when I look at everything, it's not aligning with my personal goals or my vision. So why are we wasting our time? Point? So I think it's important for everybody to know what they want to achieve in the long run, know what you want your career path to be like. Some people figure it out in the middle. Yeah. But I think when you know what you want, right, it would help you know what to deal with. Some people know when it's time to... like some people know when... this thing, I've seen the most modest people, the most like calmest, disciplined, when they rip off and you're just like, is it like, if this person can behave like this, who am I? Yeah. So the thing is like everyone, no matter, they said people that the most quiet people, they will spark for you, they can shock you. So I really think that it's important for everybody to know what they want in the long run, and also people should learn to be more human. Like, please, everybody's dealing with a lot. Like,
dealing with something.
Everybody's dealing with a lot.
The rain that's just fallen, it's probably distorting so many people's movements. And then you go home and see somebody's message and person is saying one other thing without even asking you if you're okay first. And then you're not you're just sending a message and you're like, oh, I've been calling you, you're not replying me. Oh, this is that. Do you know why? I mean, me too, I'm also guilty. Like, it happens to the best of us, honestly. Nobody's perfect, yes, but that's where the whole relearning and unlearning comes from. So I've had there's some things I don't want to say on this. But yeah, let me just skip that. I just think that it's important for everybody to know what they want, and also put yourself in people's shoes always. Because I mean, me too, I've had my own, like I say, personal experiences. I've also had, instances and situations where I had to just sit back and think, to be like, okay, I shouldn't have done that. Maybe now I understand why this happened. But you need to put yourself, you need to be open-minded enough, and then people that you have around you is very important too. Yeah, very, very important.
Imagine you have somebody that you are going left, instead of them to help you go right, they're even helping you to be going left.
Fueling it.
So it's also necessary to have people around you that can help you.
People that can help you.
Then recently we also spoke about mentorship on So mentorship is not necessarily someone that, oh, this woman is the top in her industry. Your mentor can even be your friend. Yeah. You can even it could even just be you sitting here now. Maybe there's a certain way that you do something, right? Yes. I can come to you and be like, oh, I have this issue and I know that you're good in this area, or please, can you help me? Can you help in this? I want to do something else and there's somebody else. So people have a very wrong idea of what mentorship even means.
I completely agree.
And I think people should not be pressured, because when you look at me and you feel like, Messi, you have how many years experience, you have how many businesses, how many brands are you managing, you must be doing so well you must have a lot of money. I mean, but you are, but you see what I'm talking about? I mean, but you are, but okay. I am what? You're doing well for yourself though. I'm doing well for myself, yes, but it goes beyond just what you can see. Absolutely. And another thing is, you don't know what it takes for me to even put something out there. True. You don't know what it takes for me to even show you the thing that you're saying. Yeah. So why do you feel like, I'm very anxious. Anybody around me knows that I deal with a lot of anxiety. I don't even hide it anymore. Like, I'll tell you, you're making me feel. Do you get? So when I want to, like, do something, I think about it like 100 times before I will make that first post. People are struggling to show up for themselves every day. You don't know. Even the strongest, check on your strongest friends.
I'm sure even Bill Gates is struggling to...
But you won't know until you probably like have a sit down with him. Like, there's a lot of wrong perception when it comes to social media. Like you said, I've had different people that were not really close to me, and we'll just sit down and they will just be like, I swear I never would have thought that you would be experiencing something like this.
That's similar. Oh yeah, no.
It happens. I'm sure it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, before you assume, before you make conclusions or assumptions based on what you see, like, always try to just, give the person a break. Please. Don't think because I have it all figured out. I don't. Nobody has it all figured out.
Does.
Please. So really, I honestly like that we just talked about this, because I honestly did not even prepare for this podcast. Everything just came out. Like, I feel like the topic was clear enough to have so much to say without even having to pen down any questions. And thank you, Oghosa, for
having empathy, I think.
Everybody should have empathy.
Yeah, for having empathy.
Yeah, and also for sharing like your own experience as well. And guys that are listening, please, you guys should be empathetic towards everyone around you. It's very important, because and then the things that you say to people, you don't know where it will hit. Like, imagine the lady you just spoke about now. Yeah. Somebody will not say something about her, like, oh, where if you have children, you will know what it means.
Exactly.
The strongest of nerves.
Right,
so
right.
No. See, and this life is hard enough, so we shouldn't make it harder for each other.
Well, kudos to everybody in Gen Z category, though. I think you guys are really...
But Gen Z.
But also...
I'm supporting you people, shout, but still...
If I catch you.
There are some things that I will hear that I'll be like, why are these people trying to disgrace me for supporting them like this? So yeah, thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and also, all the audio platforms. And I'll see you on the next one. Cheers again.
Thank you,
Oghosa.